Hey everyone, and welcome to the next video for JJK. I got a good mic now, finally. A lot more content's gonna be coming out. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and stick around. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on what you thought about this chapter, your highlights, your theories, what's really going on in your head at the moment. But otherwise, let's get into it. Honestly, there's not much to say that went on in this chapter. It's kind of nuts that we're in the last leg of this race and JJK has either the balls, the need, or maybe the demand to put a slow chapter after the last chapter's epic fight scene, the beginning to this highly anticipated fight. Now we're getting something that's a lot more slow paced and lore heavy. I'm not really mad at that. At least I'm not really mad at it because both it takes a break from the pacing that we've been getting lately, which is really breakneck. Not bad, but it's nice to have a change. And these characters we haven't seen in a while are now interacting with each other. So that's actually nice to see people actually have conversations. The chapter begins with the live stream being watched by, well, everyone in the entire cast. Pretty much everyone gets a chance to chime in one by one with their Reddit level analysis and lore power dump about domains, curse energy efficiency, domain amplification, who's probably going to win the fight. I don't want to get into the full text, both because it's pretty dense and probably better covered in an explained style video or theory vid, but also because it really just boils down to domains require boundaries of some kind. Domain battles are really about boundaries clashing and the external part of the boundaries, which in some cases is the sure hit effect because it's imbued in the boundary, interacting and canceling each other out. We see everyone weighing in. Kusakabe has a nice little interaction with Miwa that then transitions us into another piece of lore dump, more info on the power system, and that's what we really get for most of this until we ultimately cut back to the battle at hand. Gojo and Sukuna decide they want to just answer everyone's speculation because they can hear over the live stream, all the comments, all the donos. They decide, screw it, let's just tell everyone what it's going to look like. They both pop off their domain expansions, and it seems like it's a stalemate for maybe a panel, honestly. The long and short of it's pretty simple. Since Sukuna's domain expansion doesn't have a barrier enclosed, at least none that we can recognize, but instead it seems like it has a physical range, probably more on that later, it actually expands out of Gojo's little bubble that he trapped Sukuna in. Because of that, Sukuna's domain is technically around Gojo's. Gojo's is within Sukuna's domain on the outside at least, and then he just crushes it from the outside. Since, like we saw with Yuji and Mahito way back in the day, domains are weak from the outside. So outside attacks going in, very easy to break domains. And really the instance that it does break, we see the shrine just, it looks like fall or drop in, or at least that's the way I'm interpreting the motion here. And then in that split second as Gojo's recovering, Sukuna uses his not sure hit effect, because remember he doesn't have that within his domain, but really just because Gojo's within it, instantly what looks like cuts his head off. It's blood on both sides of the neck. Now that's kind of crazy of a chapter. It feels pretty short. Not a lot went on, honestly. Maybe the fight progressed maybe 5-10 seconds maximum. Nevertheless, I do think there are some important things to take note of. One, I know it's literally baseless since this is both English and the unofficial translation, so tone, text, meaning can all obviously change in the next few days, but I do like that Hiromi has been a sorcerer for what, a month and a half, 2 months maybe, not really, and within that time frame not only got a domain, figured out his curse technique, all this awesome stuff super fast. He's basically a protege, but is hearing about domain amplification and starts to get the gist of it. Again, it could be total cap, but I do like the idea of you just have this more or less natural genius who is another person on their side, actually. Here's someone who is clearly capable from what we've seen in the Culling games, but also has a lot of potential for growth moving forward. Number two, Gojo seemingly dying, I think it's obviously cap. Unless JJK again proves to have both the biggest stones and the largest middle fingers in the entire industry, I just don't see it happening. That being said, 2 chapters ago on 223, the narrator called Gojo a trickster. I do wonder if this is the payoff, if there is a trick Gojo pulled on Sukuna, if there is something where he's just gonna pull the rug from under him and get to a place where he actually flips this. Maybe he was testing him, maybe he was seeing his range, who knows, but I am curious if now we're gonna get the payoff for him being called a trickster in this fight. That being said, personally, what do I think of this chapter? I think it's fine. Change of pace is nice. It feels like JJK had a lot of ideas that could have probably been explored through through other arcs, fights, you name it, we'll never know. And that he's more or less giving us this info dump so that we as fans will have some answers or speculations, or again, who knows. So on one hand, I am appreciative of the info dump. I know some people said this is very Hunter x Hunter, which admittedly is pretty funny. I think there are obviously a lot of Hunter x Hunter references in JJK. Again, I called out 223 with the whole Neferpitou on the tower taking out Kite's arm, kind of paralleling Gojo Satoru on the skyscraper taking out Sukuna's arm. It just, the paneling, the premise seems really similar to me. But all that being said, I think the chapter's fine. It's not blowing me away. It feels like a pretty obvious cliffhanger. If you were to tell me that JJK is also going on a 1 month hiatus along with One Piece, this chapter would make a lot more sense. But you know, for a regular week to week kind of cliffhanger, it's not that crazy, because we know either A, if the fight ends now, it's just way too fucking short, but B, the fight's likely gonna have more, or at least I hope it has more. If this is the end of the fight, I'd be pretty disappointed, honestly. It would seem like a bad signal for the rest of the series. I don't think it'd be as ballsy or as cool as some would like, but obviously I hope the fight continues. And that being said, I am curious if we're gonna do the thing where we cut away to Kenny and see what he's doing, or if we cut away to the people watching it on live. Who knows? I am ultimately really curious about what is happening. We're in the last stretch and I still have a lot of questions that don't have answers, and at this point I don't expect most of them will get answered, but you know, we're going at it one chapter at a time. I think this is fine. I just hope the next chapter doesn't blue ball us into non-existence. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us, thank you so much for watching it all the way through, and thank you again for, you know, supporting the channel. Any like, comment, subscription, you name it, is actually really appreciated. I'd love to understand, what do you think of this chapter? What are your theories so far? How are you feeling about it? I'd love to foster a community here where week to week, not just in Reddit but outside of it, we can build a little dome for all of these releases, all of these things that we're all reading, and have a nice little community catching up on that week to week. That being said, thanks so much. This is Leftist Nerd Reacts. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. Check out the Patreon, and I hope to be seeing you soon.